All right, let's start off with our predictions, election predictions 2024. Who's going to win, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump? We're going to start off with some silly predictions, though they may be accurate. Don't discount them just because they're silly. And then we're going to get into the more serious predictions, which oftentimes are completely inaccurate and all over the place. Let's start off with The Simpsons. So, The Simpsons have been notorious for predicting the future. What's crazy about this is actually, I'm going to tell my producer, Ben, real quick, because I totally forgot. Find the picture of Kamala Harris that this correlates with, and let's throw this into the system so that we'll watch this clip and then we'll try to also show there's a side by side of Lisa Simpson and Kamala Harris. Okay, so The Simpsons, this was back in March 19th of 2000, so a long time, 24 years ago. The Simpsons had an episode called Bart to the Future. And in it, Lisa Simpson is president of the United States, and she is preceding Donald Trump as president of the United States. And what's crazy is what she's wearing and what Kamala Harris wore the day that she was inaugurated as vice president of the United States. So people point at this. And of course, another thing I'll point out before I play you the clip from The Simpsons, just pay attention to the words that Lisa Simpson uses because it's very similar to Kamala Harris. Now, people are pointing at this and saying, well, it's not quite accurate because Kamala Harris, if she wins, there was a Biden presidency before, in between Trump and her. So, for her to say, oh, well, we inherited this mess from Donald Trump. Well, that's the thing that Kamala Harris has been kind of raked over the coals over is that the way she's been campaigning, it's as if Donald Trump is in office right now. They've been doing this kind of like, oh, Donald, like running as if Trump is in office, forgetting the fact that the Biden-Harris administration is in office. So let's just go ahead and we're going to play this. We're going to start off and play this Simpson prediction for you. Here it is.
1596, 1598, 1600. Sweet.
Excellent question. Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president. Helen?
Wasn't I wearing a hat?
Yes, you were. Now, in conclusion, my administration will focus on the 3 R's. Reading, writing, and refilling the ocean. Thank you very much. As you know, we've inherited quite a budget crunch from President Trump. How bad is it, Secretary Van Houten?
We're broke.
The country is broke? How can that be?
Well, remember when the last administration decided to invest in our nation's children? Big mistake.
The Balanced Breakfast program just created a generation of ultra-strong super criminals.
And midnight basketball taught them to function without sleep.
What about my pledge to build the world's largest bookmobile? Isn't there any money left for that?
No, and we borrowed from every country in the world.
Quick, Lisa, call off your...
Bart!
Ow! Watch the ponytail.
Okay, so let's throw up the picture. We have the picture now that people are looking at. Look at this. This is from 2000. This was from March 19th of 2000 that Lisa Simpson wore this. Here's Kamala Harris being inaugurated in as vice president of the United States, and she's wearing almost an identical outfit. Some wonder if Kamala Harris did that on purpose. Look, she's not that culturally savvy. She's proven that over and over. So I can't imagine that the people that were around her remembered this, or maybe they did. And maybe they're like, oh, this would be really great if you wore this. And she just went along with it. I can't imagine that she's like a giant Simpsons fan. But anyway, people are looking at this and saying, Lisa Simpson, the Simpsons, they're known for predicting. They predicted a Donald Trump presidency. Remember, this was still back in 2000. And so Kamala Harris is going to win. That's the Simpsons prediction. Take it for what it's worth. But they have been accurate so often and with such strange, bizarre things. So that's their prediction. All right, a baby hippo. Let's move on to the prediction of the baby hippo. So this is from Thailand. This is a viral baby hippo named Mu Dang. And what they did in Thailand was they made these two kind of like treats for the hippo, snacks for the hippo. And one of them said Kamala Harris and the other one said Trump. And the baby hippo had to choose which of the same identical snacks to eat, but with the different names. And they're saying that this hippo has now predicted that Donald Trump is going to be president of the United States. Watch. So there's the snacks. Oh, went for Trump. The baby hippo went for Trump. And now the mom, gets second. She just has to deal with eating Kamala Harris. That didn't sound right. Anyway, sorry, guys. Okay, so there they are. The baby hippo. I mean, baby hippos, I would imagine, are right 100% of the time. I mean, how could you not be when you're that cute? Okay, last for the fun stuff before we get to the real predictions. Destiny cards. Now, this one, I swear to you, is accurate. I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, this is just all that phony baloney, phooey, huey, fooey, or whatever kind of old school things you want to call about this. But the destiny cards are a form of astrology. So you know about Western astrology. I'm an Aries, about, Aries, Leo, Scorpio, right? You know about all of these different, the Western, and that's based on the month that you're born, essentially. I mean, it's like from the 20th to the 20th of each month, but it's a monthly thing. You know about Chinese astrology, where, I was born the year of the monkey. So maybe my husband's a dragon, or my sister's a rooster or something, right? So, that's based on the year. Destiny cards are based on the day you're born. So it changes every single day. And it is based on a deck of cards, what would be playing cards. And the nobody knows where this system came from. They think it came from somewhere in the Middle East. And that these cards were, at one point, the 52 deck cards was, now we use it for playing games like poker. But back then, this was a sacred sort of deck of cards with sacred symbolism, and that's what it was used for. That's who created it, and then we turned it into card games. So everybody that is born a certain day is given a certain card. Like my card, for example, is the 8 of clubs, because I was born March 28th, and anybody born on March 28th is an 8 of clubs. There are other days that are also 8 of club days. I think there's like maybe 10 different days in the year that are also 8 of clubs, and every birthday has like a different card associated with it. Now, let me just tell you a little something about these cards. So I've known about these cards for over 10 years, and I've always been really big into astrology. I know. It's, I'm not talking about reading horoscopes in the back of a magazine or, that type of thing. I'm talking about really, truly learning astrology, learning the traits that, when a person's born under a certain star sign, what does that mean for them? And there's a lot of, look, it hasn't been empirically studied. I understand that. But just because it hasn't been able to be empirically studied doesn't mean that it can be discounted. So I understand that it's not a science that we can study, but it doesn't mean it can't become a science that we could study if we had the proper tools or the proper knowledge or whatever. Okay. So I just see it. I see that there's some truth to it. I don't know exactly how it works. I just know it somehow works. But the destiny card system in particular, I think works really, really bizarrely well. And in fact, I've predicted, for example, deaths of people, marriages, baby births, using this deck of card system. I know it sounds crazy and you guys are learning something about me, but it's something. But anyway, back in 2016, when Donald Trump was running against Hillary Clinton, I knew about this card system, and but I didn't look at it during the election. I totally forgot to do it. And then on the day of the election, the morning of the election, when everybody was saying Hillary, this is before they started counting any of the votes. This was the morning of the election. I woke up and I thought, oh, you know what I should do is just check the cards and see. I'm going to look at Donald Trump's cards and I'm going to look at Hillary Clinton's cards, because they have two different cards. And then each year of their life, the cards give you a spread. It's not like tarot where you could just like deal a deck of cards. It's already set in stone. So you can literally look up your card, like mine's 8 of clubs, and then you could go to the year, however old you are that year. So let's say you're, Donald Trump, like 78 years old this year. And he's a 3 of diamonds. So I'd go to Donald Trump's whatever year, however old he was. What was he back in 2016? So I guess he was 70 years old, right? So I went back to 70 years old for 3 of diamonds back in 2016. And I looked up his cards to see what the cards showed for the day, for that day. Was it a positive card of the champion who wins? Was it a negative card? Was it, what is the card that they were given that it's hard to explain. I don't think I'm doing a very good job of this. Let me try again explaining this, because it's so important and it's so accurate. And I'm going to show you how accurate it is. And I'm going to show you based on the cards who's going to win tomorrow's election. So you're given a card at birth, and every year you get a new deck of cards or a new hand that is dealt to you. And that hand will guide or influence, I should say, what is going to happen to you that year. And it's not only for the year, you'll get a card for the year. You'll also get a card for the month that shows you kind of what's going to happen to you that month, or what you're feeling, or what the energy around you is going to be that month. So let's say it's going to be, sometimes I'll see like the mother of the Queen of Hearts, which is like the mom card. So that means maybe you're going to become a mom, have a baby. Maybe I'll see like the Two of Hearts. That's like a marriage card. Maybe I'll see Five of Hearts. That's like a divorce card. Maybe I'll see 10 of Spades. That means that you're going to have really a lot of success in work. Maybe I'll see Five of Spades. That means maybe you're going to change jobs. Okay, so you see these different cards, and you're given a card for the year. You're given a card for the month. Several cards for each, one for each month. Plus, you're roughly. I'm not explaining it perfectly because it's more complicated than that, but I'm giving you a rough idea. And you're also given a card for the day. For every single day, you're handed a card. So what I did was, on the day of the election back in 2016, I looked up Donald Trump's card, and I looked at what card he was dealt for that very particular day. And that, let me actually, I'm gonna control this here. So I'm gonna show this. This is Donald Trump's. Let me see. Here we go. This is what I saw back in 2016, so that you kind of have an idea. This is for each day of November of 2016. So you see the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. So the election, November 2016, was on Tuesday, November 8th. And you could see for the 8th, right, this is Donald Trump's spread, that he had King of Spades on the 8th. And I saw that. And then I also looked at the cards that were after that day, because you win the election. Maybe you win the election that day, or maybe you don't, because they might not count them all that day. But you also need to look at kind of the days after that to see what the energy or what the feeling is that the person is experiencing the days after, because that would give you an idea of whether or not they won or lost, right? So I'm looking at this, and I see King of Spades on the Tuesday of election day. And the King of Spades is the highest card in the deck. That is at the top of the echelon, like you are the king of the world card, okay? So I saw this. Now, this is the morning of, and everybody believed Hillary Clinton was going to win, including myself at this point. But I see this, and I see King of Spades, and I'm like, wow, that's a really good card. And then I go to Hillary Clinton's spread, and on Tuesday, the 8th, now her main card is 9 of Hearts, I believe is what she has. So then I looked at her card, and I see 7 of Clubs. 7 of Clubs is it's literally the most negative card in the deck. That's what it means. Negativity. It's the card of negativity. Literally, that's what it is. And the King of Spades is literally the card, like, top of the world. And I looked at these and I thought, oh my God, Trump's going to win. I couldn't believe it. I know you might think this is all junk science, whatever, but, and I understand I can't prove that it is what it is either. But I had enough experience with these cards of being able to predict random things like deaths and births and, all these different things, divorces and all these job losses, like everything, that I had enough experience to believe that these cards had been really accurate. So I went to work that day. I wasn't doing politics or anything, but I went to work, and my coworkers all knew that I was into this destiny card system, and they were into it too. They thought it was fun. And so I told them, I said, guys, I looked at the cards, and when I looked at the cards, I saw that Donald Trump won. And they said, no way. And I said, I don't know. I'm having a hard time believing it, because we all know Hillary Clinton's going to win, but I'm just telling you what I saw on the cards. And so far the cards have not been wrong. And yet, this is showing Donald Trump wins. And we all know what happened. Donald Trump won that election. And he was shocked too, but he was suddenly king of the world. And Hillary Clinton was extremely upset. And she had the card of negativity right there. I want to show you something else that I saw in her deck that convinced me she was going to lose. And that is, if you could see on that Saturday, that 9 of Spades, that 9 of Spades is the death card. That is the death of an idea. The death, also 7 of Hearts. So you see she had a lot of 7s in her spread. She had 7 of Clubs, and then she had 5 of Spades, which is like the changing of a job, changing of an idea, changing of a career. 3 of Clubs is, it's like a creativity card. But I saw this 7 of Hearts, which is also a like a sadness. Sevens are sad, like negative cards. So 7 of hearts, I see negative in her heart. And then when I saw 9 of spades, I'm like, oh man, that's the death card. That's death of this idea. It's not death of her, but it's death of the idea, death of the dream, the death of the dream. Like, I'm going to be president, death of the dream. It's over is what 9 of spades is meaning. It's the death card. It's over. Okay. So then I looked at Donald Trump's cards again and look at his, he's got that king of spades on that Tuesday. Then he also has the creativity card, because you got to get kind of creative when suddenly you're going to be taking on a new job. Then he had ace of clubs. That's the beginning of a new thing, like the beginning of a new idea. 3 of clubs again, and I saw 5 of diamonds. That's also a change of job. So I looked at that. I looked at her death card, that 9 of spades, and the fact that she had 7 on her negative on the day of the election. I thought, oh man, Donald Trump wins. Okay, now we're going to go to 2020, and let me see okay. So let me show you Trump's. This one is Trump. So this is Trump's 2020 cards. And the election was on that Tuesday, the 3rd. And look at the cards on that day. It was the 10 of spades. Now remember, we didn't have the election results that day. So on that day, we all, I think, went to bed believing Trump was going to win the election. So he had 10 of spades. That's a card of success in work, power, success. That's what 10s mean. 4 of hearts is interesting because that's the family card. That's when you're surrounded by family. So the next day, Biden wins and Trump is surrounded by family. And that's what that card shows. And then he had the 9 of spades, the death card, showing this is the death, because they were still trying to challenge it. Everybody was, is this real? Is this really what's going on? And then there's that death card. So that's when he knew. It was on that Thursday. He knew it's over. I've lost. There's no way we're going to, now we're going to go to these like long shot chances. Now, when we look at Biden's cards for that day, for that week, what does he have? He has the 10 of clubs. So that's again a power card. Nobody really knew, but he must have felt confident. So nobody really, Trump went to bed thinking, I'm going to win. I got the 10 of spades. Biden's going to bed thinking, I'm confident this is going to work out. He's also got a 10 of clubs. So they're both feeling pretty powerful that day. And then Biden feels extra powerful the next day. He's got the queen of clubs. That's the top of it's not the king of spades, but it's still a face card. It's powerful. But then look what he has on Thursday, the 8 of spades. Trump had the 9 of spades. Biden has the 8 of spades. So Trump had the death card. Biden has the power in work card. It's a power card. 8s are power cards. 9s are ending cards. Biden had the power card. And then he had the 5 of hearts, which is like the changing, moving of residence or changing jobs, or it could be anything from, it's kind of a divorce card. So, but it can also be a positive, because even the 7s can be positive. Everything has a positive and a negative. It just depends on how you look at it and what happens to you. Like a lot of people will have a 5 of hearts when they have a child, because it means literally a change of heart, a change of something in your heart. So that's what he experienced. And then, but the fact that he had that 8 of spades and the queen of clubs and the 10 of clubs, and there was no 9 of spades, that notorious 9 of spades that got Hillary Clinton. And then in 2020, it got Donald Trump. So now let me show you this year. Okay. Let me show you this year. Now let me see, who are we looking at? Okay. So this is this year. This is Donald Trump's spread for this year. And what you see is, now this is going to get interesting. Tuesday on the 8th, which is tomorrow, the election day, or sorry, it's Tuesday the 5th. Sorry, my eyes are, I can't see the screen. The 5th, you see that he has the 8 of clubs. And that 8 of clubs is the power card. It's the card of, you feel pretty good, you feel successful, you feel powerful. And he also has in his spread for the rest of the week a 4 of spades. That's a card of stability and work. Queen of spades, that's a face card. It's a very powerful card. 10 of spades, powerful card as well. And then he has 7 of diamonds. Now, I know I said to you 7s, everything has a positive and a negative. So even though 7s are usually negative cards, they also could mean winning the lot. 7 of diamonds, it specifically could mean winning the lottery. It's like, it's a card that can be, if you focus on money, you'll have negative issues with money. If you don't focus on money, you actually could end up winning the lottery with the 7 of diamonds card. Every card has a positive and a negative. So this is his spread for this week. This looks pretty darn good. And there's no 9 of spades in this spread. Okay. Now let's look at Kamala Harris's spread. What do you notice immediately? The 9 of spades, the death card. That's what you notice immediately on Thursday, the death card. And from 2016 and 2020, whoever had the death card that week in the spread lost the election. So destiny cards. And now what's interesting is both Donald Trump and Kamala Harris tomorrow have the 8 of clubs. So what does that mean? That means we will go to bed tomorrow not knowing who won the president. That's what I think. I think tomorrow we'll go to bed and we won't know. In fact, it looks like looking back and forth between Trump's and Harris's, we won't know until, well, let's see. So he's got 8 of clubs, 4 of spades on Wednesday. That's still kind of like a work ethic card. What does she have on Wednesday? She has the 6 of clubs. So that's kind of a card of no change. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't find out until maybe Wednesday night, Thursday morning, who actually won the election. And you can notice with Kamala Harris's card spread right here, she's got the 8 of clubs, the 6 of clubs, and she's got that 9 of spades, that death card. That's when she knows she's lost. And then the 3 of hearts is a card of threes are you're torn into, you're feeling a bit negative. You could turn that negativity into creativity, but it's still kind of it's a stress card, I should say. 3 is stress is what it represents. And then she's got that 7 card, the card of negativity, and it's spade, which means work. So negativity with work. And Trump, on the other hand, has the 8 of clubs, the 4 of spades, which he's feeling, then the Queen of spades. So that's not the King of spades like the first time he won president, but he won't feel the same, right? Second time around. The first time was kind of shocking. Whoa, what? I'm going to be president of the United States. Second time, it's like, yep, I belong here. So that's 7. That's the Queen of spades. And then he's got 10 of spades. That's a power card. You're feeling good, powerful with work. You're feeling like a winner with the 10 of spades. And then 7 of diamonds, you feel like a millionaire. Or you could feel negative about money, which probably, and oftentimes the cards will be both at the same time mixed. So yeah, he probably will be worried about money a bit because I'm sure they're going to do a lot of lawfare and lawsuits. And he's probably thinking, I got to lawyer up because they're going to impeach me 10 times and go after me and my family a bunch. And it's going to be really costly to be president of the United States this time around again. But at the same time, you've just won kind of the lottery in it. Like it's a gamble. You've just won the lot. So you've just won the gamble, and he gambled and he wins. So according to the destiny cards, guys, and they weren't wrong in the last 2 elections, it looks like Donald Trump is going to win. I'm a little shocked by this, to be honest with you, because I think there's no way in hell the establishment allows Donald Trump to win. That the establishment would be very much, they've done everything they possibly can to take Donald Trump out. And so but maybe they'll just say, all right, fine, we'll let him win, but then we'll still get rid of him somehow. And who knows? But that's what the destiny cards say. So take it for what it's worth. I would love to hear from you guys what you think about that. If you believe in any of it or if you don't, but that's that's my kind of cheesy take on who's going to, I was watching all these shows this morning, and all these other shows have these like really sophisticated predictions of who's going to win. And they've got, well, this poll says this and this poll says this. And, this is what people are saying about that. And this is why I think this, Trump's going to win, or this is why I think Harris is going to win. And here I am, I break out the cards. And I say, well, the cards say, what do the cards say? The cards say Donald Trump is going to win, but we won't really know until Wednesday or Thursday. Okay. Take it for what it's worth. Okay, let's go to the more serious predictions. Okay, we've got Nate Silver, also the French economic forecaster, Christophe Barrade. We also have Citizens Forecast, which I'm going to read from that a little bit to you, and their predictions. So we're going to start off with Nate Silver. So Nate Silver called the race a pure toss-up. Now, he's the guy, he builds probabilistic statistical models based on national and state polling, economic data, likely voter turnout, and other factors. And then Nate Silver puts all of those data points together, and then he makes predictions. And he is predicting, based on all of his data and information, that it's going to be a close toss-up. But he does believe that Donald Trump will win 51.5% chance of clinching the Electoral College, while Harris has a 48.1% chance according to what he wrote just yesterday. So those are the polls as of yesterday, or the odds as of yesterday from Nate Silver. Now, Nate Silver has gotten into it with who was the guy that we just recently spoke about, the Nostradamus of polling. Nate Silver and him went back and forth on this because the Nostradamus of polling, using his 13 keys, which we talked about last week, the 13 keys show that he claims that it showed that Kamala Harris was going to win. And I went through those 13 keys with you, and I did not agree that he interpreted them correctly. And that, in fact, had he interpreted them without his bias, that it showed that Trump was going to win. And Nate Silver and him got into a battle. And actually, Nate Silver said the exact same thing that I did, which is, hey, buddy, you actually didn't interpret your own keys correctly. And if you actually answered them correctly, Trump was going to win. And Trump, you would have predicted, based on your 13 key model, a Trump win. So that is kind of something that Nate Silver's been going back and forth with on his. So that's what he's predicting, Donald Trump. French economic forecaster, who some call the world's most accurate economist, Christophe Barrade, also predicts Donald Trump to win the 2024 presidential election. This is according to NorthJersey.com. They said Barrade is the chief economist and strategist at Market Securities Monaco. He was awarded the top forecaster of the U.S. economy by Bloomberg 11 out of the last 12 years. And he specializes in macroeconomics and studied financial economics. And we all know it's the economy, stupid, right, when it comes to these elections. So in his interview with Business Insider, the forecaster predicted his three most likely scenarios, with Trump taking the presidency and Republicans taking control of the Senate and House of Representatives as the most feasible outcome. However, of course, he did put in his caveat, like most of them are doing. And he said, but this could go another way. Yeah, it could only go one of two ways, right? It's only going to be Trump or Harris. So he says, I think it's going to be Trump, and Republicans they're going to win the House and the Senate. So it's going to be a full GOP sweep. But he says, but the other likely outcome is it would be a win for Harris, but split Congress. Okay. So he doesn't think Democrats would sweep. He thinks Republicans would sweep, but maybe Harris would win, and then there would be a split Congress. Okay, whatever. Now let's go to this. This is interesting because the claim is that this citizens forecast would be actually is like the most accurate of all of the forecasting and polls, because the problem with polls is when you ask people, who did you vote for? They tell you who they voted for based on their own personal feelings. But researchers found, if you ask instead a different question, the question being, who do you think is going to win? That the person then not only takes into consideration who they're voting for, but then they start to think about all of the people around them, their coworkers, their family members, people in their neighborhood, in their social circles, and they start to compile all of that data in their brain, in their mind, when you ask them the question, who do you think is going to win? And they might know they're voting for a non-winner. Like if somebody asked me at the end of the exit polls, I still have not voted. I will vote tomorrow, but let's say I'm still debating, but let's say I'm going to vote Jill Stein. I know Jill Stein has no chance of winning the election. So if they ask me at an exit poll, who do you think is going to, who did you vote for? And I say Jill Stein, that's very different than who do you think is going to win? Because, they would take that data, oh, she voted for Jill Stein. That's not going to, I know Jill Stein's not going to win, but maybe I'd vote for Jill Stein just because it's, type of protest vote. Or not even a protest vote, but somebody that I think would be a better president than the other options, right? But if they ask me, who do I think is going to win? I then have to start thinking about everybody around me and all of the people and who they're voting for. And in my life, most of the people are voting for Kamala Harris. That is, I didn't know how people were going to vote, but now that people have been voting, early voting has happened. A lot of people in my life have said they voted for Kamala Harris. I do have a few Trumpers in my life, people who voted for Trump, but they are fewer than those who did end up voting for Kamala Harris. And I was very surprised because a lot of people around me are very sickened by the genocide in Israel and in Gaza, but they still ended up voting for Kamala Harris. Okay. So if you ask me who's going to win from my data, I would say Kamala Harris. That would be my answer if you ask me who is going to win. So that's the question they asked a bunch of people. And in the end, when they compiled all the data, and they found in historically that this was actually more accurate every single time they asked, who do you think is going to win? That the outcome of their polling in this way turned out to be accurate every single time. So they asked again. And this year, what did it turn out? Most people believe Harris would win. And so they are predicting from the citizens election poll that Harris will win. And what's interesting about this is they asked people in all of these different states. They made sure to ask every single different demographic that showed the different, ages, sexes, races, religions, everything. They made sure to get a good sampling. And they asked in all the variety of states. And what's interesting is this idea that Arkansas would go blue, that Iowa would go blue, that Virginia and North Carolina, both of them blue, Pennsylvania would go blue. They're saying Arizona will go blue, Montana going blue. I mean, these are the types of things that people, according to the polls, now that could be that seems unlikely. And I know a lot of people look at this map and they think, how is this possible? Montana going blue. I mean, give me a break. Montana has had is it Montana or Wyoming that's recently had that has a Democrat? Steve Bullock. Where was Steve Bullock from? He was a Democrat. Former governor of Montana. Okay, so Montana could go blue. He was a Democrat, won the state. Thinking that Iowa and Arkansas would go blue, people might look at that. Bill Clinton's from Arkansas. There was a lot of movement that happened in the last 4 years around the country. People left blue states and they moved to these other states. And even though for the state of California, for example, we had a lot of people leave, the state of California is, the people who left here were Republicans, but I'm from the state of Idaho, so I know real Republicans. Republicans from the state of California are not the same as Republicans from the state of Idaho, for example. Republicans from California are Democrats in Idaho. They're just, we don't have Democrats in Idaho who are that crazy liberal like you do in California. So when a Republican goes to Idaho, they're like, oh, actually, I fit in more with the Democrats politically here in this state because the Democrats aren't as crazy as the Democrats in California. So a lot of people moved. And when they moved around the country during and after COVID, we might see a shakeup that does ultimately result in places like Montana going blue. I mean, that's very possible. People might scratch their head and think, well, this just seems so bizarre. But we'll see. So that's the prediction that they've got, that Kamala Harris would actually win. So it's still a mixed bag. It's anybody's game. That's kind of the end of the story here, right? It's anybody's game. Anybody could win. My cards say Trump. Nate Silver says Trump. The world's best economist says Trump. But the people say Harris. The guy, the 13 Keys guy says Harris. The Hippo says Trump. The Simpsons say Harris. Tell me, what do you think? Love to hear from you. You can comment down below, or you could email in kim@kimiverson.com. Thank you so much for watching. This was just a clip from the longer, larger show that you can catch Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern at kimiversonshow.com. That'll route you to the platform where you need to be in order to get the full uncensored show every Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Click on that link, watch the full interview. See you there.